Saved from my enemy. Blessed be the rock and the God of my salvation. Be exalted, the Lord ever. Blessed be the rock and the God of my salvation. Be exalted. Very nice. We'll stay within our green hymnal. If we can go down to page 79. What we'll do is kind of keep us on track with time. We'll do verses 1, 3, 5, and 6, excuse me. So we'll leave out 2 and 4, okay? Is that all right with you? So 1, 3, 5, and then 6. I'm sorry, page 79 of the green book.
Is there a 6?
I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old land. Story from the Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down, down to the river to pray. Verse 3. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the story from the Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, fathers, let's go down, down to the rivers to pray. As I went down to the rivers to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sinners, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sinners, let's go down, down to the rivers to pray. As I went down to the rivers to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the story from the Lord, show me the way. Good job. I like that acapella. All right, and I've asked Isabel to go ahead and read from the Bible this morning. It's Psalm 33, verses 1 through 3. What's reading? You can read it right there if you want. That's fine.
Sing joyfully to the Lord, you righteousness. It is fitting for the upright to praise him. Praise the Lord with the harp. Make music to him on the 10-stringed lyre. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully and shout for joy.
Thank you, Isabel. Very nice. Thank you. We're going to sing one more song for the time being, and then we'll go into some other stuff. If we could stay in the green hymnal also, it's going to be page 106. Just a closer walk with me. And for those of you that aren't singing very loud, you better get it up. I'm going to start pointing fingers here. Let it be, Lord, let it be. I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong. I'll be satisfied as long as I walk close to thee. Through this world of toil and sin, if I fall to Lord, repent. With me my burden share. None but thee, Lord, none but thee. When my feeble life is through, time for me will be no more. Guide me gently, safely home to thy kingdom shore, to thy shore. Very nice. Thank you very much. And if I could have a couple of kids come up here so they can do an offering. I'm going to read your head and I apologize. Which ones are which?
Today is Ruby. You got it. You're good.
And I called Ruby and we're sending him a check for $200. And he said he could be here the evening of March the 29th.
So down you got to carry
Good.
You're good.
It's on a Sunday.
Where's that? You gotta go around. What's up?
That makes
Hey, Rose, come over here. Come over here, Rose.
Here, Rose, sweetheart. You think it'll fit in there, Rose? You think it'll fit in there? Thank you, Rose.
If you could turn around and put those up real high, please. Dear Lord, thank you for these offerings this morning, for the church, for Lupe, for the MCC, is that correct? The blessings that we use from these tithes to help the church grow, to keep the church functioning, for Lupe, for the MCC. We just want to spread ourselves such that the community and the world knows that we love God so much, and our passion is there for all people in this world. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rose. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And if the kids want to stay up here, I'm sorry, I kind of made you go back and we shouldn't have. We are going to read a little story, okay? Do you know what James?
You sit down on the floor for space. You want to sit there? I'll just go over and
No, I want to eat that. No one's on the carpet.
While I'm looking for this, did anyone have anything exciting happen? There's some basketball fans in here.
Pretty exciting.
They didn't trade it. Did Kansas win yesterday?
They did. So did OU in overtime.
Really? Could that be?
Texas.
I gotta stay in Texas for 7 days.
And that's under one.
Sit down here. You don't have to go to the story.
No, I had the neighborhood pool.
And the others didn't come up here to sit with you, huh? That's all right. Then you can see the
You want to say that?
Well, thank you, Rose, for coming with me. Do you know how we just gave money here just a little while ago? We put them into 3 different things. Well, this story is about the people give money for God's house. Do you think about this as a God's house, Sydney, even though you live here? Do you know part of this house is a God's house too? Yes, very good.
Hey, Sydney.
King Joshua loved God. He did things that pleased God. He wanted his people to please God too. He wanted his people to go to God's house. But God's house was not the happy house it should be. People did not take good care of it. We must fix God's house, said the king, but we must have money to do that. The king put a big box by God's house. Put your money in this box, said the king. Put money there to fix God's home. The people put their money in the box. Soon the king had the money to fix God's house. The people were pleased that they could help. They wanted to help fix God's house. Soon God's house was a happy house, and that is what God's house should be. And this is going to be directed at the little ones, but what are some things besides giving money that you guys think that we do here for this church right here? What are some things that we do around the house to make it a happy place? You guys are so quiet. But you know, there was a big transition here recently where Sydney, you and your mom and your 2 brothers moved in here. That was a big deal, wasn't it? Moving in. There was a lot of work in Isabel.
My baby brother wasn't even born yet.
Okay, all right. Technicality.
Technically, he was born yet last year.
Thank you. All right. So we're gonna leave little brother out. But I don't know if you guys remember, there was a lot of work that needed to be done. Even though it was for your living arrangements, but it was also for God's house, because now there's a community here at the church that's a lot different than it's really ever been. There's really never been kids here at the church on such a longevity period, you know what I mean? The kids are very important to our world, and I can feel the love from above where you guys live down to here where we worship, and we're very thankful, and we hope that as time goes on, you guys will know that the house of worship is very important. But what we're going to do is, I believe you guys got Sunday school with Becky, right?
Yeah.
If you want to go in there with her. I think Isabel, you're going to stay in here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll go with Sister Becky.
Let's go play.
Thank you, Janelle.
Sydney, are you coming or are you staying?
Much like basketball. Yeah, some system.
Well, Aaron's our preacher this morning. I think he's got something for us that will be really, really unique and to inspire us. Let's just say a prayer over Aaron. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this brother, Aaron. He's such a great guy, such an amazing person. We love him so much, and we just, dear Lord, watch over him as he brings his sermon to us so that we can react and gather wisdom from him. Thank you so much in Jesus' name.
I've got several things that I want to do. First, just let me tell you that one of the things I do in class on a fairly regular basis is find storybooks like this one, and then I'll take an illegal picture of each page and then display it on my smartboard, and then we have story time. And you would think that 8th graders would be like, it's pictures for kids. They love it. They absolutely love it. And it makes things very, very real to them. This is a true story about Henry Box Brown, who stuck himself inside a shipping container and escaped from the slaveholding South into freedom in the North. It's an actual true story. Are you going to stay here the whole time? It's up to you. It's totally up to you. But will you take that to Miss Becky? They might read it.
I thought we were reading it in here.
Oh, okay. Take it.
You're not gonna tell us a story?
That's like one teaser now.
All right, yep. Whoever wants to.
I want to know what happened.
How long was he in the shipping crate?
It was something like 4 days or something.
Wow. How old was he?
He was an adult, yeah.
Oh, the picture
Yeah.
looked kid-like size.
No, he was, yeah, but fortunately he was like small in stature.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like a contortionist kind of thing as far as we know. I mean, a lot of these stories, the history is not very clear. I want to, like I said, I want to do several different things in different sections. The first part is just a quick reflection on Lent as it relates to something that I've been thinking a lot about lately. So one of the, I won't read all of the lectionary passages, but one of them is from Psalm 25. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. In you I trust, O my God. Do not let me be put to shame, nor let my enemies triumph over me. No one whose hope is in you will ever be put to shame, but they will be put to shame who are treacherous without excuse. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God, my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Remember, O Lord, your great mercy and love, for they are from of old. Remember not the sins of my youth and my rebellious ways. According to your love, remember me. For you are good, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore he instructs sinners in his ways. He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way. And let me read that again. I didn't plan on doing this, but let me read that again. And this time, try to not hear it with white ears. And so I've been reading the Bible white for 37 years. So we're going to talk about particularly the Black experience in this country in the last 300 years. So with just whatever prior knowledge you have, try to enter that experience as you hear these words. To you, O Lord, I lift up my soul. In you I trust, O my God. Do not let me be put to shame, nor let my enemies triumph over me. No one whose hope is in you will ever be put to shame, but they will be put to shame who are treacherous without excuse. Show me your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are God, my Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Remember, O Lord, your great mercy and love, for they are from of old. Remember not the sins of my youth and my rebellious ways. According to your love, remember me. For you are good, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore, he instructs sinners in his ways. He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way. So hopefully you were able to hear the pronouns in a different way. You were able to take that first person and give it new meaning. And then the other, those who are treacherous and those who triumph over me, those kind of things. Hopefully that kind of gave some new light. So I didn't develop a full sermon on this, but it's February, it's Black History Month, and when I get done with this, I want to share what's been going on at my school, but I just want to use this kind of as a catalyst. This is one of the books that you put in the library, right? Pretty recently, James Cone, The Cross and the Lynching Tree. So just let the title of this book sink into your brain and into your body. I mean, just the title is powerful. So part of what I was reading very quickly was I teach the American Revolution through Reconstruction. So it's 100 plus years of institutional slavery in this country. And so every single day, like that weight is pushing down on me, no matter what, our text is and no matter what standard we're covering. There's always going to be people in slavery in this country during that time period. The way Cone speaks of it is that the cross under slavery, the cross was obviously, this is obvious stuff, but the cross was, widely misused among the slaveholding South. That's just very clear to us. I think we understand that. And it made sense to enslaved people. The cross made sense. But what happened after Reconstruction and I've been trying to do some research on this, the term that several folks are using, you don't hear it a lot, but the term is nadir, Nadir. So post-Reconstruction, the lynching era before, until about 1910, 1915. So about 40, 50 years of U.S. history. And I'm trying to, I did some research on the original person who used that word. It's a scientific word. I'm trying to figure out how they're making the use of the meaning there. But they're using that word to describe that period that was mostly marked by lynching. And part of what Cone is saying is that the Black experience became very difficult for a while relating to the cross because the eerie similarity. And so there was this juxtaposition. There was these two symbols that needed to make sense together. And so what the KKK did for a while was effectively take back that meaning, okay? And they were, the burning cross and of course the tree and the hanging, those things are, they're representative of the cross of Jesus. So I'll let Cone say some things about that and then we'll move on. So this is toward the end of the book. And if you'll allow me, this is just about a page and a half. The cross is an opening to the transcendent for the poor who have nowhere else to turn. That transcendence of the spirit that no one can take away, no matter what they do. Salvation is broken spirits being healed, voiceless people speaking out, and Black people empowered to love their own Blackness. And yet another type of imagination is necessary, the imagination to relate the message of the cross to one's own social reality, to see that, quote, they are crucifying again the Son of God. Both Jesus and Blacks were strange fruit, referencing the song. Theologically speaking, Jesus was the first lynchee who foreshadowed all the lynched Black bodies on American soil. He was crucified by the same principalities and powers that lynched Black people in America. Because God was present with Jesus on the cross and thereby refused to let Satan and death have the last word about his meaning, God was also present at every lynching in the United States. God saw what whites did to innocent and helpless blacks and claimed their suffering as God's own. God transformed lynched black bodies into the re-crucified body of Christ. Every time a white mob lynched a black person, they lynched Jesus. The lynching tree is the cross in America. When American Christians realize that they can meet Jesus only in the crucified bodies in our midst, they will encounter the real scandal of the cross. God must therefore know in a special way what poor blacks are suffering in America because God's Son was lynched in Jerusalem. Jesus and other subject people suffered punishment under the Roman Empire as blacks suffered in the United States. He was tortured and humiliated like blacks. What are we to make of the striking similarities between the brutality in Rome and cruelty in America? What is most ironic is that the white lynchers of blacks in America were not regarded as criminals. Like Jesus, blacks were the criminals and insurrectionists. The lynchers were the, quote, good citizens, who often did not even bother to hide their identities. They claimed to be acting as citizens and Christians as they crucified blacks in the same manner as Romans lynched Jesus. It is even more ironic that black people embraced the Christian cross that whites used to murder them. That was truly a profound inversion of meaning. And then he goes on to talk about the primary threat for black males in this era of U.S. history was the threat of coming into contact with a white woman. And that was used, any sort of contact between a black male and a white woman was a reference to rape. Like an encounter on the street, like a verbal encounter. That was the white Southern definition of rape. And then, of course, when there was a trial, it was all white male jury. So these things were not prosecuted. And then, of course, the threat to black women was sexual violence from white males, in which, of course, that is not rape in that sense. The threat in that situation would be for a black male who would speak up, in protest against that sort of sexual violence. So, Scott, we sang a song, and I want to do the same thing that we did with Psalm 25. I'm going to read the words to this song, and this time, don't think about it in our white sort of way. And sometimes there's a lot of hymns that I don't relate very well to because of my white experience. So enter to the best of your ability, the gender of your preference, but enter into the black experience circa 1900, where that threat is very real. That threat of sexual violence, or that threat of being accused and murdered because of a trumped up charge of sexual violence. Just a closer walk with thee, granted Jesus, is my plea. Daily walking close to thee, let it be, dear Lord, let it be. I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong. I'll be satisfied as long as I walk, let me walk close to thee. Through this world of toil and snares, if I falter, Lord, who cares? Who with me my burden shares? None but thee, dear Lord, none but thee. When my feeble life is o'er, time for me will be no more. Guide me gently, safely o'er to thy kingdom shore, to thy shore. So, where this started for me was I have a deep, deep interest in African American history. And sometimes I even think it would be really interesting to go back to school. But when I think about like studying at a higher level, actually studying African American history, I think about space. And I think about if I'm sitting in a classroom, and these are things that are ongoing. So, don't correct me because I'm still working these things out. If I was sitting in a classroom, say at OU, pursuing like a master's in African American studies, part of my thoughts would be, this is space that a person of color could be filling. And that's something that I think about. And going into February, really going back to December and really January, I had a strong interest in Black History Month at my school. The teacher that really took the lead last year left and went on to other things. And so I was trying to feel my way through this for the same reason. I had hesitations because I didn't want to take up space that could, be reserved for really a teacher of color. And so I had to work through that, and I basically came to a conclusion that I wasn't like taking someone else's space. It's space that was vacated, space that was empty, and if I didn't fill it, it probably wouldn't be filled. So I took the lead for February, and one of the things that happens in public schools a lot, especially in underprivileged schools, is that to raise money for the school, like administrators and teachers like sell things to the kids. It's like, if the school is underprivileged, don't you think the kids are going to be underprivileged? In fact, more so. Like, we're Title I, so we get computers, we get some pretty good stuff. So our kids are less privileged than our school is in those terms. So the last thing that I think I should ever be involved in is like trying to raise money by taking money from our students. But I saw a catalog, and there was an organization who was providing promotional materials for Black History Month. And all I really have left is this armband. It says Black History, Remembering the Past, Shaping the Future. So I purchased a kit from this company, really kind of, in hopes that the church would support me in the end. And it had armbands and pencils and stickers and these little dog tags, bookmarks, good. And there was enough in there for like every student at my school to get something. Now, really, my students were privileged because like they had me all the time. So I had students that got like 3 or 4 things. But I gave some to principals, gave some to other social studies teachers, and we tried to get them all out throughout the school, just to let kids know that this is important to us. And this theme, Remembering the Past, Shaping the Future, was our theme for the whole month. And so we rewarded kids for doing their work and for showing good behavior and respect in the halls, and they would get a wristband or they would get a pencil or something like that. And they loved it. I mean, they were just all about getting the stuff. Some other things that we did were we had an educational campaign called Beyond Peanut Butter. And so it's either funny or it's just really, really weird. There's still teachers at the school who like, they come up to me and say, I still don't get it. But that's part of it. Like, the intrigue was why we did it. So me and the other history teacher, we put some things together, and we highlighted 10 figures from African American history. And we started, of course, with George Washington Carver. That's where most people start when they talk about Black history. And the truth is, Carver didn't invent peanut butter. Okay, that's the first thing that we have to recognize. Peanut butter was around before, but he did a lot of things with peanuts, like a lot of like really important things that are bigger than like spreadable things for kids' lunch, right? I mean, it's no disrespect to peanut butter. I happen to love peanut butter. But Carver's contributions went far beyond peanut butter. And then, of course, if we get to James Baldwin, if we get to Bayard Rustin, if we get to Maya Angelou, trying to think of everyone that we had. Mahalia Jackson, all of these people, we profiled them, and then we said they went beyond peanut butter. And to let the kids know that we can't start or end a discussion about Black History Month by talking about how awesome peanut butter is. It's part of the story, but it's nowhere near the whole. Then on Friday we had our assembly, and it went smashingly well. It went really well. We had the stomp team from the high school, from Del City High School. We had the choir sing, and pretty much all of the presentations were from student council, so they were student-led. The whole thing basically was. Last year, we had one of our veteran teachers had a stroke about this time last year, I believe it was, and wasn't able to finish the year. He's a special education teacher. But I talked to him last year. I said, you need to come to my class sometime and talk to them about, because he was here in Oklahoma City in the 50s and 60s. That's when he was growing up. And so it just worked out that he is recovering and was able to come to the assembly. And you were talking about 500 kids, right, packed in this gym. And you know how when gyms get loud. When people are whispering, a gym is loud. Okay, you could hear a pin drop in that room when Mr. Stewart was talking during the assembly. It's really, really incredible. So the assembly went off very, very well. And this coming week, we're finishing with what's called Spirit Week. It's where you dress up every day. So tomorrow is wear all red, because we're all red inside. I'm having a mental block on Tuesday, but Wednesday is sweats and joggers. If you don't know what joggers is, you need to go out and find out what joggers are. Thursday is hoodie day, which don't tell any administrators at my school, but Thursday is also the anniversary of the death of Trayvon Martin. So I conveniently left that part out. So, and then Friday is wear all colors, because diversity is beautiful. So that's how we're finishing the month. All of that to say that the church, graciously, the finance committee voted to reimburse me for all of these promotional items. It was about $260. And I wanted to bring the whole church into the experience and let you know what kind of cause that money went toward. It's really been an incredible experience. So I've probably taken more time than I should, and I should probably leave this part out, but no, not yet, Isabel. I'm gonna do one other thing.
No, I'm gonna go get Georgia.
Okay,
She
I'm gonna
wanted to come see you.
but it's not the video yet.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, I'm really nervous to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Don't be nervous.
Okay, this is a performance poem, and I'm probably not gonna perform it very well, but I've been doing this poem so long in my classroom that I've almost got it memorized, but not quite. So I'm gonna be looking over here to get some of the words. So I share this about 2 or 3 times every year in my class. So this is a poem called See Through by Andrea Gibson. We're on our way back to school from gymnastics class, and only in Boulder, Colorado, my kids are singing John Lennon's Imagine at the back of the bus when Jessie stops herself mid-verse, stretches her arm across the aisle like a sunbeam, tugs at the hem of my shirt and asks, "What does hatred mean?" Jessie's 5 years old. Anything I say, she's going to believe. But I realize I don't know the answer. I don't know what hatred means. I could guess and say it's the opposite of love. I could guess and say, Jessie, hatred is why there's nothing but white faces on our private school bus. But Jessie isn't white yet. Go ahead and ask her. What color are you, Jessie? Well, it looks like I'm pink. Shane thinks he's orange. Skylar says she's tan. Rhett says he's see-through. See, you can see how my veins are blue, but they're red when I bleed. And I wish there was no such thing as springtime, because I don't trust the machines that will one day be planting seeds in these gardens, teaching them some people are flowers, Some people are weeds. Rip the weeds by their roots. Ignore their screams. Tilt your own face to the sun. Take what you want. You are the chosen one. Sitting Bull said white people are liars and thieves. I'd like to tell Jesse he was wrong. I'd like to tell her we didn't come like a time bomb, teeth built of bullets, gunpowder on our breath, that this land didn't weep when our feet first mercilessly hit the ground. I don't want to say that we drowned and maimed the children, sliced long strips of their skin for bridal reins. I don't want to say that the moon was slain, the constellations dispersed like shrapnel. Mothers killed their babies, then killed themselves when they saw our faces on the horizon, and all that we left was a trail of tears. But if I have to say that, I want to say that the boat stopped there. I'd want to say the eaves never saw the sails of slave ships, never heard the sound of chain links. But Jesse, think slaughterhouse, think people branded, suffocating, foaming at the mouth. Can you imagine what kind of pain you would have to endure to throw yourself overboard 2,000 miles out to sea, lungs gratefully engorged with salt water? Can you imagine being chained to your dead daughter? How many days would it take you to stop searching her hands for lifelines, to stop searching her fingertips for memories of sunshine, to stop searching her wrists for a pulse, for just some sign of time turning backwards to when you just knew people would never do things like this? And Jesse, this is not just a picture of our history. This is not just a picture of our past. We've been hundreds of years measuring the size of our hearts by the size of our fist, erecting our bliss on the broken back of dark skin. The present is far from gift wrapped. Ask New Orleans. Ask mothers in the South Bronx, chasing rats out of their babies' cribs. Ask the fathers of the kids whose lives we exchanged for cheap gas. Ask our prisons why jail bars always come in black. Ask Afghanistan, Palestine, Iraq. You are white, Jesse. There are bodies dangling from the limbs of your family tree. Our people pulled people from the soil like weeds. Breathe in our story. Force yourself to hold it in your lungs till you can hear the hymn sung beneath white sheets, till you can feel your own finger on the trigger of the gun. Feel yourself fire as they shout. Do not look away as bullet enters heartbeat. Now breathe out. This is where we come from. This is still where we are. Now where will we go from here? I don't think we're hateful. I think mostly we're just asleep. But the math adds up the same. We can't call up the dead and say, sorry, we were looking the other way. There are names and faces behind our apathy, eulogies beneath our choices. There are voices deep as roots, thundering unquestionable truth through the white noise that pacifies our ears. The voices are clear. Don't tell me we don't hear. Don't tell me we don't hear. The moon is slain. The constellations disperse like shrapnel. Don't you think it's time something changed? One other thing, and then you can go ahead and go get them. I'm gonna have to get this set up here in a second, but I just wanted to show you this. Yeah, I show this. Now it's going to be a tradition to show it every February. This is called Busted: The Citizen's Guide to Surviving Police Encounters. FlexureRights.org. It's produced by the ACLU. This is like probably 15, 20 years old, but this is like, I mean, I haven't like looked up what it would cost, but it would be really interesting if we got like several copies of this, because in light of Ferguson, in light of Eric Garner, this video like has completely new meanings. And it's like it's a step-by-step guide. The first scenario is like what to do if you're pulled over. The second scenario is what to do if you're stopped on the sidewalk. And then of course that is, that's an experience for a person of color that's completely different from all of our experiences. And then the third experience is, your rights in your own home. So it's very relevant and my students love it. James, can we go ahead and end that? Because this has a lot of kids.
Well, take